I do believe we have some very tough times ahead for our country, and most in Washington are refusing to address the true scope of the situation.
Some folks may have to work well into their 80s if they want to provide for any kind of golden years.
The stock market's initial gains simply shadowed the money printing trail, and it won't be very long before this money from heaven becomes a path to hell.
So few people have enough money to retire.
Welcome to Label on Fire with Label Sternbach, the financial independence and retirement show dedicated to helping you build the life of your dreams as fast as possible with as little stress as possible. Amazon best-selling author Label Sternbach is the author of both Living with Financial Anxiety and Authenticity. Label's advice has been featured in countless publications, including Reader's Digest, USA Today, Yahoo Finance, CNN Business, Investment News, and MarketWatch. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Label on Fire.
Hi again, everybody. I'm Freddie Bell, and welcome back to Label on Fire. And with me now is Mr. Label Sternbach. I thought it was really interesting. You wrote the book because you're trying to help people to manage that anxiety and living with stock markets going up and down and not treating it like a typical savings account, Label.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to give people the roadmap for how do you actually build the life of your dreams.
So when we last were together, my last question was, how do you think, what's the safest way to invest in the stock market? And remind our listeners of what you shared with us. I thought it was really pivotal.
Yeah, so I said that what you really got to do is the safest way to invest in the market, right? And what I consider safe and what you consider safe, right? And if you ask anyone in a room, they'll all give you a different answer of what safe means to them. And so I think that is step number one, right? Is identifying what safe means to you. And then step number two is creating a strategy that allows you to experience that, right? That allows you to participate in the market without risking your financial future, without risking the essentials in your life, so that you're not worried about what's happening in the market. And instead you see it as an opportunity. When you see the idiots responding into something that you knew was going to happen, that everyone knew was going to happen, but the market decides that it's going to tank 5% today or 10% or whatever, that is a buying opportunity, that as something funny rather than something that could potentially devastate your retirement.
Really interesting, everybody. We're talking with Label Sternbach. So understanding that, are there investments that you would think that we should be avoiding because they're risky, so that it doesn't upset our calm state as we're watching the fluctuations in the marketplace?
There are investments that you should avoid. I think that's an interesting question. And again, it goes back to what I consider risky is not the same thing as what you consider risky. So is there something that should be avoided? Not necessarily. What I think that there should be is more the things that you use to build your retirement, the things, and I think what you need to do is really separate your retirement essentials, right? Your life essentials from everything else, right? And so when you think about your money, you should have a chunk of your money that is going to be used this is going to be my retirement income. This is going to pay for the roof over my head, right? This is going to put food on my table. This money, I am not going to do anything risky with it. And then for everything else, right, then you can separate it out and you can say, okay, this money, I'm going to participate in the average market growth. I'm going to do maybe a buy and a hold, or I'm going to have some kind of tactical strategy, or I'm going to combine them together, right, so that I get the experience that I want to have. And I can afford to do that because I'm not risking everything, because it's on a time horizon and it's got checks and balances that work for me. And it's by combining everything. So when you think about it, it's not that anything is off the table. It's that you have a strategy that is really designed for your peace of mind, rather than one that is designed to buy and hold or participate in the market. When you put the market as the first adjective in your retirement plan, you've automatically failed, right? You're automatically going to be waking up in the middle of the night worried. When the first adjective in your retirement plan is, this is what I need to live on. This is going to allow me to enjoy my life. This is going to pay for my cruises each year. This is going to pay for my grandkids' tuition. This is going to pay for my cabin. Then all of a sudden, right, it changed the entire perspective of what you're going to use, how you're going to achieve those goals, how you're going to fund it, and the types of risks that you're willing to take on.
Boy, risk. Can you be in the marketplace if you're really risk averse and still do well?
The answer, surprisingly, is yes, you can. And it all comes back to the fact that there are 1,000,001 ways to participate in the market without having to ride the Wall Street roller coaster. And we've talked about insurance companies, we've talked about private equity companies and investment banks, but basically, there are people who want your money. In exchange for you giving them your money, they will give you participation in the market with limited to no down. And now, again, these are contractual obligations. So it's not the same thing as owning a stock. It's this other party is agreeing to pay you. So if that other party goes bankrupt, then you're screwed, right? But you can diversify that. You can take on only quality risks, and it allows you to participate in the market with limited downside.
So is that a part of diversifying your portfolio so that you've got some of this is really risky, this is really safe? Is that a part of it, Libel?
Absolutely. It has to be a part of it in retirement. In your working years, I would tell you you're crazy for doing something like that because you want most of the upside of the market. But in retirement, it's not about the upside. It's about protecting the downside.
Protecting the downside. So talk about a strategy for someone who comes to you, they're 45, they're close to 50 years old. They've never invested, but they want to make sure because of maybe it's health reasons. They've only got 15, 16 years to work in the marketplace. What type of strategy do you start to construct for an individual like that?
So when you're talking about somebody who's closer to retirement, right? So the real question is going to be, and the truth is it doesn't matter really when they are, but the question is going to be is how far do we need to make this money go, right? And you're going to say, okay, how far do I need it to go? And how long do I have to get there? Those are the two variables that you can manipulate, right? Those are the two levers. And we're going to then say, based on that, we only have options A, B, and C to invest in. Which one of these is going to keep you up the least at night? And you know what happens sometimes is when you tell someone that, they say, I'm willing to have a different type of retirement because I can't live with the A, B, and C, and I want something else. And then you can say, okay, let's reduce what we think life is going to be like, or let's increase it. Because if you're okay with A, B, and C, when we can take on more risk, then maybe we can have a better life. And it's really about dialing in those levers to what you're comfortable with. And those levers, risk. So that's the Wall Street roller coaster, right? When you go to Disneyland or you go to Six Flags, right? They've got the different roller coasters. You got the little kiddie roller coaster, and then you got the monster ones that'll scare you out of your pants, right? That all the teenagers go on. You get to pick that kind of in the stock market, right? You get to say which one of the roller coasters are you riding on. And the more scary the roller coaster, the greater the theoretical return. And I say theoretical because the other variable in this is how long are you riding that roller coaster. If you go on for 5 minutes, you're going to get 5 minutes of reward, but you might start at a downhill, you might start an uphill, right? Who knows whether you're going to get what you want. But if you're on it for an hour or 2 hours, you'll probably be able to experience a whole roller coaster, right? You'll be able to experience those averages.
All right. So that whole question was based on the idea, this is an individual who wants to be a successful investor, but they're saying, Libel, I want to do this, but I don't want to lose money. Is it possible to be in this game, the stock game, without losing money?
The technical answer is, let me rephrase that. The answer that the SEC accepts is no. There is no risk, there is no reward without the risk of loss, right? So what I will tell you though is, while I can't guarantee that you will not lose money. What I can give you is a contractual obligation to limit the amount of losses you have.
So it's a limit, but you're going to lose. You're going to lose some money.
You don't have to lose money, right? It's just that the possibility for loss, right? Let's say we get a contract and right, I find somebody and they say, you know what, I'm going to guarantee that you're not going to lose money, right? You're going to only get 6% on the market performance or 10% on the market's performance. I'll keep everything else. I'll manage your money. But in exchange for doing that, you're not going to have any losses, right? So if the market goes to 10, right, it loses money. That's all on me, right? The rest of it, and if the market goes over 10, that's on me too. I get to keep that. But everything in between, you get to keep, right? That's a contract, right? There's lots of contracts that we can get that look something like that. And the thing though is it's a contract, right? So what happens if I go broke? What happens if I run away with your money? That is a risk. It's a risk. Whereas if you're invested in the S&P 500, right, there's no risk that I might disappear. Right? So that's where the risk of loss is, right? That may happen. I might say, okay, I'll give you those returns, but I want your money for 2 years, right? I want your money for 5 years. And then you come to me 2 years later and you're like, Label, I had an unexpected expense. I really need my money, right? And I'm like, we agreed to 2 years. If I give you your money early, I'm gonna lose a lot of money doing that, and I'm gonna pass that loss on to you. And you're like, you know what? I just want to do it anyways. I need my. You're gonna lose money in that case, right? Because those guarantees go out the window the second you don't keep the contract.
So it's an agreement between the two. So you mentioned classes. You mentioned, of course, the book Living with Financial Anxiety. What would you suggest right now for that person? That example that I just shared with you, that person in their 40s and 50s, where time may not be necessarily on their side. What would you suggest as a resource for that individual or people just listening today to get more information about investment strategies?
So what I would say is on my website, I've got classes on investments. So I've got from basics, just understanding and what investments are and how to participate in the market, all the way to building retirement strategies. So on my website, I've got classes pre-recorded that you can access. I teach regular webinars, so sign up for my mailing list, sign up for one of my free reports, my guides, and you'll get added to that mailing list. And you can always reach out to me individually. More than happy to chat, more than happy to walk through any of these strategies and point you in the right direction if this is something that you want to implement for yourself.
You can find all this information at yields4u.com. Yields, the number 4, the letter U.com. Leibel, if there was one thing that you would like for us to consider as we begin to part ways for this time together, and we're talking about the current state of the marketplace and living with this kind of anxiety and trying to avoid risk if you're risk averse, but also getting in with both feet, what would you have us think about as a way of saying goodbye today?
The only thing that matters is what will let you sleep at night, right? All the fancy strategies in the world don't matter if they don't let you sleep at night. And so you need to find that for yourself, whether that's something that I offer, whether that's something that someone else offers. You need to figure that out for yourself. And you do that by talking to lots of people like me until you find the thing that you really feel comfortable with.
All right, we'll leave it right there. Leibel Sternbach, yields4u.com. The name of the book, again, is Living with Financial Anxiety. And there's another entitled Authenticity. I'm Freddie Bell. Thank you for being with us. And we'll get together again next time with the Leibel Sternbach.
If you would like to see how the Yields for You team can help you get off the Wall Street roller coaster and save you money on taxes so you can live the life of your dreams, book an appointment online at yields4u.com. That's yields4u.com. Or call 410-914-4894. That's 410-914-4894.
Yields for You is a registered investment advisor in the state of New York and only transacts business in states where the firm is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement. Information presented on this program is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. Discussion should not be construed as an offer to buy or sell or solicitation of any offer to buy or sell the investments mentioned. Annuity guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Content should not be viewed as legal or tax advice. Always consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation.